because the perception and some of the reality is there. If you have an older person, it's harder to actually to learn new tech, right? And you think about as children age, it's harder to teach them certain things, right? It's harder to teach them, let's say, a foreign language, right? If you teach them young, they'll learn it quickly versus the older they get, the harder it's going to be for them to actually learn.
In tech, I think it's actually probably one of the best fields for where ageism can kind of, I'm not gonna say go in reverse, but like where it may not affect you as much. I feel like the perception is there, but it's so much continuous learning there, you'll age yourself out by not putting in the work.
What's going on, tech team? It is Just My Tech Sense, where we talk tech, finance, and lifestyle. I'm WillDoesTech, and I'm joined by my co-host,
JohnnieTech. What's going on,
JohnnieTech in the building.
Yes, sir.
Round of applause for JohnnieTech being in the building and for discipline. It's not a habit yet, but we're getting there. We are getting there. It still takes some time and concerted effort to get here. But we're here. And we're working on making it a habit. But
discipline is everything.
Right now, it's discipline. So
you know what I like to say, 1% better every day.
1% better.
Daily deposits.
Every day.
I'm just throwing the information out there. That's how I like to do it.
And it's been a couple weeks since we've actually recorded, right?
Yeah, exactly, man.
So
you look different, man. I was like, man, my boy WillDoesTech been stressed out a little bit. So, man, you looking a little different.
It ain't stress, man, but things are what they are. So you gotta embrace and you gotta embrace the salt and the pepper, the extra seasoning that comes along with life, right?
I see it, man.
Yeah, but life is good, man. Life is good, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the salt and pepper. So,
hey, man, I rock with the new look, man. You never know. It might bring new fans. Like, oh, you look distinguished. You know what I'm saying? He definitely knows what he's talking about now.
It's the beard, right? It's like glasses, right? Hey, he has to be smart because he wears glasses.
Exactly.
So he has to have some wisdom because he got salt and pepper.
There you go, man. That's a sign of wisdom.
That's what I'm going for, right? Even though they say ageism isn't good for the industry and the tech industry. So I mean, that's what they've been talking about, right?
That's what I've heard, and I've seen it with my own eyes. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's up and down. It's up and down, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's goodness, and I think there's I'm not gonna call it badness, but it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, is what they say, and with all the technology that comes out being new, it's like are people willing to actually change and adapt and actually learn it, or do you have the capacity to even learn it? So. Speaking of salt and pepper, we wanted to talk about ageism in the tech industry in 2026 and how we feel how it's either beneficial or detrimental to one's career. And there was a Reddit post that I saw the other day that I would like to read and then kind of just react to. So this is written by Warm Silver 9371 in the Reddit space. Again, that's Warm Silver 9371 and
Silver.
Yep, and the subject matter is father hit by tech layoffs 18 months ago is now homeless, just venting. All right, and then it goes on to say he's given up, spiraled into depression, and stopped applying to jobs entirely. Severance is spent, 401k is spent, unemployment is gone. He's now evicted and homeless. This is a man who was a top technical architect with the same Fortune 500 company for 26 freaking years. He learns quickly, stayed up to date. He was a killer at his job. Now I can't get him to even try. He blames ageism and the tech industry. He blames the economy and the market. Both complaints have some merit to them, but he's mentioned he's done fighting. He feels hopeless. He won't even get a filler job to get by. He's just rotting away and couch surfing with family. I can't make him try. I can't take care of him. I don't want to enable him either by handing over money. I don't know what to do. I don't think there's anything I can do until he decides to try. That was the end of the post. So what are your thoughts on that?
Man, that's deep. To be honest, like everything I heard in that story, there's a lot going on. It sounds like I know for a fact, I'm not saying I know for a fact, but I've seen in different careers I've had like where there could be what's considered ageism, but I know companies look out for that. But at the same time, I was kind of looking at his whole story of him working kind of at the same place for 26 years and kind of probably like, and I'm thinking like, well, when did he start? How old was he? Is he actually that old? Well, I'm going to consider him being old since he's mentioning that he's not getting hired because of his age. But like just me instantly, thinking about it in this moment, I'm just like, it sounds like it could be ageism, but it sounds like he could also just be in like a depression of being in one place so long and then things just switching up on you.
Yeah. And so we say ageism in the tech industry, and we don't know, again, his journey, what he's applied for. Mm-hmm. It sounds like there's ageism as far as his mindset, right? Like he feels like he's being discriminated against because of his age. And I dare to say that if you're someplace for 26 years and you've learned all that you need to learn as far as doing that job, are you really learning anything new, right? You see that a lot in the government space where you can have somebody that's there for 20 years and they are SMEs on old technology.
Right.
But when it comes to the new stuff, it's a fight.
Right.
And they're just not able to adapt. So it's like, is that the case when it comes to him? It's like he hasn't adapted with the times. He hasn't found new positions that would allow him to grow in technology.
Right. So I like what you're saying, and my brain is just like, I'm computing right now because I'm saying like, okay, well, if that was me, what I consider ageism, because I'm like, well, I've done this. I've been in the field. I've been in the industry 26 years. I've been doing my job. I've been great at my job. Or I'll say I've been great at my job for this many years. So is it the fact of like, are you getting the opportunities and failing on the interviews, and then you're saying, okay, does he know he have a gap? Right. If that's what it is. So, but if you already been doing it for 20 years, you're gonna think in your own mind like, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. Right. Like, what are you talking about? You're like, well, we like to do it this way. I'm like, nah, that don't. We do it like this. I know it works like this because I've been doing it.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of see that, but I do think that like, I honestly do think that when you get in certain places, I think there's a perception of that as well. Yeah. I think there is a perception of like when you see. Like if you see an older person come in, you're gonna almost be like, well, I can't mold this person. They're gonna be set. So I think when you're coming in, if you're not coming directly into leadership, the leaders may say like, we'd rather go with someone young because we can teach them and mold them. And they're like, that's the perception. So then you have to come in and break that if you are older in the field.
Right.
I think that's something that you have to do, and because you kind of have to know it's there. And I think that's just probably because I don't think it's just in tech. I think ageism is in as far as careers. I think it's in all careers. Yeah. Even ageism as far as if you're too young.
Right. No, you're right. And rightfully so, because it does, because the perception and some of the reality is there. If you have an older person, it's harder to actually, it may be harder, right, to learn new tech, right? And you think about as children age, it's harder to teach them certain things, right? It's harder to teach them, let's say, a foreign language, right? Mm-hmm. If you teach them young, they'll learn it quickly versus the older they get, the harder it's going to be for them to actually learn that language.
Speaking of the way they learn it is like I've heard people learning it watching cartoons. Right. I mean, like if I see something, I watch Narcos on TV. I got the captions on. I haven't learned one extra word.
Right. Right. So it's like they're faster to pick it up, right? And they don't need, let's say, the formal education in order to pick it up. Mm-hmm. So there is that, but I also think at the same time, if you learn how to use age as a advantage, right? Because there is wisdom there. There are lessons learned that you can apply to certain positions. There are mistakes that have been made that, you can make sure you look out for, and actually, if that is something that the company encounters, you've seen it before. You know how to get over it. And I think that experience definitely helps with that. And it's like, how do you get that to come across when you're talking on interviews? So again, I have this salt and pepper, but please believe when I have an interview and they say, well, do you know this? Do you know that? It's like, look, I have the ability. I'm willing to learn. I've just never been in a position to actually use this or need it. Right. But, based on if I get the job or not, I have the ability to learn. And I think just the way that you carry yourself, your posture, I think your physical fitness, I think a lot of that lends to the perception of you as a package and as a person. Right. So if you're older and you look older and you talk older and you're talking about old technologies and the interviewer is like, this person's just never going to be able to figure out AI because AI is the devil, right? AI is the enemy, and they never learned how to leverage it because they feel like AI is coming to take their job and not complement their job. Then
that's interesting because I think that like I agree with what you're saying with those changes, but I think like in tech, I think it's actually probably one of the best fields for where ageism can kind of, I'm not gonna say go in reverse, but like where it may not affect you as much. I feel like the perception is there, but it's so much continuous learning there that but I feel like you'll age yourself out by not putting in the work. Right. If you just stay like, okay, well, I know this and I'm become an expert at that. I'm an expert at network engineering, and I don't take advantage of what cloud is doing. Right. You age yourself out. Yeah. Because of the knowledge. But if you continue to learn, and then you can use all that background knowledge that you had to get better. Like if you was a great network engineer before cloud came out, you're just gonna be a better cloud engineer.
Right, exactly. You have the advantage over somebody who has none of that experience. Right. Because again, as you said, the foundation is already there. Mm-hmm. You just need to pivot a little bit and learn the technology just a little bit. And you can be, shoulders and heads and shoulders above of the competition.
The people who's coming in. I think like, because I mean, even me, like I'm not older in a sense, but like I'm getting older than like some of the guys covered. Hey man, I'm still one of the young guys out there.
You better let it go.
To a sense. But I see it as far as like career wise in the sense of like, I think what happens is if you get into you're in the field and you're moving your way up into your positions, you kind of get focused on what your company is doing, what's going on there, and you may not worry about like the new stuff that comes out. It sounds minuscule to you, but those are the things that are growing. So like people now, like how AI is a big thing. Like if you're like already making a certain salary, you're way up there. Like I don't have time to fool with that, right? But you probably should. Right. You probably should keep basically keeping your ear to the ground and seeing okay, what is this, and then figure out how it can be. I don't know. I feel like it does sound far fetched. Like even like when we're talking about, if I like bring it down, we talk about social media, right? Yeah. You see like how the platform switch when you had someone go from Facebook to Instagram to now it's all this new stuff tech wise that you're not really paying attention to. Yeah. But I think it can happen in the same way with jobs and stuff as well. Yeah. It's like
Yeah, and I think that's where this 26 years, or 20 years, however long he was in, I think it was 26 years. 26 years. If you have your head in the sand and you're not looking out for anything else other than the technologies that you're doing or using on the day to day, then you're going to miss out. And when you bring your head up and you're looking around, it's like, well, whatever happened to typewriters? Where do they go? Right,
it's a different world.
Right, it is totally different. Typewriters, what? So that's I think from that perspective, if he is not able to adjust, then it's on him as an individual not being able or not willing to adjust and adapt and not. But you see that a lot, right? Because I'm sure the layoff was probably unexpected. 26 years, you're thinking I got loyalty with the company. Mm-hmm. I know where the bodies are buried. Like I know all the company secrets. There's no way, and I'm the best out here. But it's like when it comes to money, it's business. Yep. And that's the thing you have to just kind of let go. It's never really personal. Right. Most of the time it's business. And if your number is called because let's say you're making a certain amount and they feel like, hey, P&L, if we go ahead and release this position, we get, this money back.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, honestly, I hear it and I feel like I know, some of the maneuvers to get around it. But at the same time, it's still like, I feel like it's still a fear of mine. Like as I'm working through my career, because like, you start making a certain salary, you kind of want to stay there. You want to spend time learning the new technologies, but your responsibilities could be really high. So I feel like what he fell into is not an uncommon thing. I think everybody's going to probably reach a point there. So I would like to see in throughout the journey, because I do think if you could do continuous learning, that should help you, because you're staying up, but you just don't know.
Yeah, but I think it takes more than continuous learning. So you say that you have a fear of that. What are you doing? Because that's the thing too. People are like, oh, I got a fear of this, and then they don't do anything. Right. So it's like, yeah, there's continuous learning, but you need more than that, right? You need networking. You need to brand. There are a lot of things that people are not, one, because of maybe their job is a lot. Mm-hmm. It takes all their energy, and they're just too tired to do anything else. But what are you doing, JohnnieTech, to make sure that this fear or this concern that you may have, if something happens, you're not just like, oh.
I think what I'm doing, and it's not to say I wouldn't do it in the future, but I feel like my thing is I've been doing my best to stay as technical as possible, even in the roles that I do.
Okay.
Like, and I think that's for me, it's what I like being technical anyway. And I've always thought of like, if I become like the best on the technical side of the work that I'm doing, I'm staying hands-on as long as possible and working as an individual contributor. I think that will take me further into the point where I'm always kind of, I feel like you're more in the mix of what's going on, and you are working with younger people sometimes in those roles, and you can help mentor them at the same time, but also you can hear what they're doing, and sometimes you can learn from them because they're the ones who know about, like, hey man, did you hear about this breaking new thing? Because they're like more online with certain things. You're like, okay, let me look it up, and then you say like, oh, that's nothing new. That's the same thing as this. You know, you just kind of keeping your ear to the ground. You know?
And I don't think it's a sometimes thing. I think the newer generation, like they know where it's going.
Right.
They may not know how to get there, but they know where it's going. And it's just, you know, as you said, getting involved, talking to people. So that's what you're doing currently to make sure that if something happens, you're able to pivot. Yeah,
exactly. Because I preparing for it, but at the same time, it's like when I say it's fear, just because it's unknown. You know, I'm hearing his story, and I'm like, oh wow, that could really happen to anybody, because you just don't know, because he didn't detail every little thing that happened where we can kind of point out mistakes that he made. So it's just generic. Yeah.
Well, I think for me, I also have that concern, and I love working for the company that I work for. Again, it's not who I am, but it's just a part of what I do. At the same time, I love the quality of life that I currently have, just working, you know, fully remote.
Right.
And it's like, how do I continue if something happens with the company? How do I continue to still have this quality of life and working remote? And a lot of that for me is, okay, what is the next framework on deck, right? That I need to learn, that I need to get certified in. So it's like, I'm taking steps there in the event that, you know, said framework that I'm, you know, doing right now is less of a priority and this new one comes about. So again, it's not only keeping my head on a swivel as far as where to pivot, but actually taking action to make sure that I'm in, you know, I'm a trailblazer when it comes to being in position, right? And that's what I'm doing now regarding CMMC. Already got my CCP, and then working on my CCA later this year.
No, I think what you said, like, as far as being a trailblazer, you're never too old to be a trailblazer. And I think if you have the trailblazer mindset, then there is no ageism for you.
Right.
I mean, the perception can still be there, but like when you go and start speaking and talking the talk,
it's gonna go away.
Exactly.
It's gonna go away. And I mean, there are things like resume. You can, like, you know, for me, I got, you know, close to 20 years.
Right.
Some of those years I can just go ahead and knock off. Right. They don't need to see, you know, 20 years ago
exactly
what I was doing, you know, 20 years ago. It's like, hey, we're good on that. Right. So, you know, giving them maybe the last 10 years, depending on what the job is.
Slide some more education in there. Like, oh, he graduated in 20.
remove the education, remove the date, right? But still hold the.
Now you got to get another degree. I'm like, oh, I just graduated.
We're not doing that. So we done with that. We done with that. So you got anything to add on that?
I think what I would take from that, I like what you said, man. It's just, as long as you're being a trailblazer in the field, then I think that you can overcome ageism a lot. So that's kind of from what you said and how we've been talking, I would wrap it up that way. Like, just be a trailblazer.
Okay. Well, with that, what are your thoughts on the subject of ageism? Do you feel like it's something that is, relevant to today's society? Do you feel like people are not getting jobs because they're too old? This is Just Our Tech Sense. I'm WillDoesTech.
JohnnieTech.
And we'll talk to y'all later.
Out.